When the male and female leads came to the orphanage to pick an adopted child, they pointed right at me. I was lying face down on the ground, sunbathing my back while humming a little tune, decked out head to toe in a flashy, floral-patterned padded cotton outfit. Can this child be adopted? The director looked at the male lead in his shiny black suit, then glanced back at me looking like a miniature old lady. She's all right, but her vibe might be a bit out of sync with your family's style, the director said. The male and female leads had faces full of question marks. The director awkwardly tried to explain, this girl lives a bit too chill. Hearing this, the female lead was actually moved. She secretly pinched the male lead's pinky finger. So different from our son. Hubby. Right at that moment, a scrolling comment suddenly floated across my field of vision. The female side character isn't just chill, she is the absolute lord of lying flat. A congenital queen of giving up. Spot on. She's the capybara type who eats so slowly that she faints from low blood sugar 3 times in a single meal. Other kids stress so much during exams that they practically crack their heads open. This girl goes into the exam room, rolls the test paper into the shape of a wine glass, and sits there admiring it. Trying to act elegant, too. You gotta know, the male lead's family has been a bloodline of workaholic grind-set gods since their ancestors' time. The male lead's son, meaning the male lead of the sequel, spoke 4 languages at age 3, won the International Math Olympiad at 8, and started managing the company with his dad at 10. A sluggish slowpoke like this female side character is only going to get ostracized in that house. I bet she'll pack up and run back here in disgrace in less than half a month. I think I remember the male lead son having an anxiety disorder. I'm looking forward to seeing who wins when the highly anxious youth clashes with the queen of whatever. I belong to the naturally low-energy demographic. In internet slang, you'd call it letting it rot, carefree, or lacking in chi and blood. The doctor prescribed me medication, but taking pills every day was too annoying. I even had to take them on time and at the right dosage. I just dropped the treatment completely. If I live, great. If I die, whatever. At night, dozens of kids crying because they missed their moms really annoyed me. Mildly wanting to log out of Earth, I tossed a scarf over the ceiling beam. Just as I slipped my chin into it, the security guard kicked the door open and punted me 3 meters away. Cui Jinju. No playing on the swings in the room. All right then. Since I couldn't die, I had to live well. I started researching all kinds of Yongsheng, health preservation, methods. When other kids watched cartoons and cried their eyes out, I sat there brewing spleen-strengthening and dampness-removing tea. When other kids studied like crazy for good grades, I went to plant goji berries. After digging exactly 3 holes, I stood up too fast, my vision went dark, and thump, I laid out flat right there. When I woke up, I went right back to digging holes for my plants. Many adoptive families who saw me for the first time commented that I looked too gloomy and lacked vitality. Taking me home wouldn't be like raising a precious daughter, it would be more like bringing home a great-grandmother to serve. I couldn't care less. Papa Director, however, furiously scolded them and chased them out. How dare you call such a cute girl an old lady? Your family lacks morals, no wonder you can't have kids. So unblessed. When the news broke that the male and female leads were coming to adopt, all the kids in the orphanage dressed up in their absolute best. Everyone hoped to be the chosen one. I held zero hope. The crowd surrounding them was blocking all my sunlight, so I had no choice but to drag my yoga mat, clutch my enamel mug of chrysanthemum tea, and trudge over to another corner. Subconsciously, the female lead's eyes were drawn to me. Pointing at me lying on my stomach sunbathing and humming, she asked, "Can that child be adopted?" The director looked at the male lead, who was burying his face in his phone handling work. "She's all right, but a bit off-tone with your family." The couple looked confused. The director had to awkwardly tell the truth, this girl is a bit too chill. Suddenly, a few lines of text flew across my eyes again. The director is sugarcoating it. She isn't just chill, she's the congenital lord of laziness. She's a capybara, eating so slowly she faints from low blood sugar 3 times a meal. What are these words? Whatever. To me, there are too many things in this world I don't understand, and I simply don't care. I couldn't blame Papa Director for worrying. Going by past experience, it was true that no one liked an old-fashioned, sluggish kid like me. But the female lead was moved. She secretly pinched the male lead's pinky. So different from our son. Hubby. Sigh. All eyes turned to me. Done sunbathing, I slowly crawled up. Under everyone's gaze, I calmly practiced a set of 8 brocades qigong. The female lead couldn't hold back and pulled the male lead closer. Little girl, what's your name? Hello, Auntie and Uncle, my name is... The male and female leads didn't blink, looking at me with faces full of anticipation. They waited forever and still didn't hear me finish my name because my speaking speed was 0.3x that of a normal person. The director couldn't watch anymore and took over. Her name is Tui Jinju. She's 8 years old this year, and she has been cultivating for 6 years. I nodded in appreciation at Papa Director. I was about to open my mouth to add something, but the director understood immediately. Of course, you can also call her by her Dharma name, Wu Xin, Enlightened Leisure. I gave Papa Director a thumbs up. The female lead pinched the male lead's pinky hard again. So cute, so adorable, I love it. I didn't expect her to be a little Buddhist nun. Truth be told, the male lead's pinky was already swollen and red. They asked if I wanted to go with them. The director stood next to them, winking and signaling frantically. I ignored him. To me, everywhere was the same. Plus, the orphanage was too crowded and noisy, giving me headaches and affecting my cultivation. I agreed without hesitation. Before leaving, I gave all the vegetables I grew to the director. 100% organic, fertilized by my own hands. The director looked at me with a "you're definitely getting returned" gaze and saw me off to the car. On the way home, the male lead dad's phone rang constantly. One moment he was frowning at financial reports, the next he was typing emails at lightning speed, then he was calling to scold his secretary. Just watching him made me exhausted. He kissed the female lead mom. Darling, I have urgent business to handle later, and then I have to fly to France for a business trip right away. Plus, there's a merger, so I probably can't come home to celebrate with you too. I'll make it up to you next time. Dad clenched his fists and looked out the window, brimming with determination. This time, I will definitely trample that villain underfoot. I must take back everything I've lost. After saying that, he patted my head. Be a good girl. Mom didn't say anything, but her excited eyes gradually turned to disappointment. It was obvious this wasn't the first time Dad broke a promise. Today was the weekend, after all. I sighed in my heart. Truly a grind-set king. When we arrived home, I carried my tiny bag and looked at the massive villa. So quiet, so spacious. If you coughed, it echoed 3 times. So satisfying, it suited me perfectly. I thought to myself, I definitely went to the right place this time. During dinner, Mom put food in my bowl and praised me. Our Jinju is so good. So young, but already knows how to eat slowly and chew carefully, which is good for the stomach. Jinju really has a unique perspective on life. Mom needs to learn from you. The praise made me shy. I figured I should probably suck up to my new mom a little bit. So, instead of picking up one single enoki mushroom string at a time, I switched to picking up 3. Mom spoke again, Jinju, you don't have to force yourself. Just follow your own rhythm. No one had ever said that to me before. In the past, people around me either didn't understand me or just constantly rushed me. They even made up rhymes to tease me. Turtle Jinju snores when she eats, slower than a snail because she's a pig. With people who didn't understand me, I never bothered making friends. I just did my own thing, only doing what made me comfortable. Protecting my energy and magnetic field was my top priority. Mom's words warmed my heart for the first time. It seemed I had finally met someone who didn't reject me. To thank her, I nodded, and this time, I picked up a whole 4 enoki mushrooms. But I clearly felt the regret in Mom's voice. Something felt off. A dining table this huge, why were there only 2 people eating? I looked at Mom questioningly. She quickly caught my meaning and rubbed my head. Jinju, do you want to ask why your brother isn't eating? He has a competition coming up, so he's very busy studying upstairs. I remembered the comments saying he seemed to have competitions every single day. Didn't that mean he was busy every day, skipping meals every day? After eating, I took the elevator to the 2nd floor and walked past a room in the corner. Peeking through the crack in the door, sure enough, I saw a teenager sitting at a desk. That must be my brother. Brother was burying his head in books, writing like a madman. He was writing while biting his lip, his other hand tugging at the hair on his forehead in deep frustration. Next to him was the food tray Mom had brought up, rice piled as high as a mountain. It was stone cold, without a single bite taken out of it. The floating comments flew by again. With the female side character being such a lazy capybara type, seeing the young male lead who has both talent and works so hard, she'll definitely go crazy with jealousy. Exactly. They are only 2 years apart, one has already self-studied the entire high school curriculum, while the other is still struggling to spell. The brother is an all-rounder academic genius, he definitely prefers family members who will fight side by side with him. Seeing that she can't fit in as family, the female side character will probably try to seduce the brother when she grows up. Who knew that the brother would never like this kind of lazy and stupid type? The female side character is still acting so carefree right now. Grabbing my popcorn to wait for the day she realizes the world of difference between them, feels inferior, and runs back to the orphanage in disgrace. I couldn't understand what I was reading. Thump. I plopped down flat right at the door of the room. Don't misunderstand, I was just too full and suffering from a bit of a carb coma. My shoe flew off and kicked the door hard, widening the crack. The door swung wide open inward. The person inside clicked his tongue. Without even raising his head, the brother snapped aggressively, I told you not to bother me. After a long while with no answer, only intermittent, soft snoring echoed from the doorway. The brother turned his head and saw the tiny figure lying sprawled out at the door like a little animal. He only frowned slightly before lowering his head back to his work. His eyes were glued to the test paper, his brows furrowed tightly, and he unconsciously picked at his fingernails, picking them until they were completely bare, leaving only a faint line. Oh no, the brother's anxiety disorder was acting up again. Seeing this, the female side character better run quickly. Anxiety attacks are terrifying. If he gets a panic attack, he might accidentally hurt someone. Commenter above, what kind of twisted morals do you have? When someone is having an episode, isn't that when they need their family the most? And you're telling her to run? You guys are overthinking it. Look at the female side character's cold and indifferent personality, does she look like she cares about anyone? Only the future female lead will truly understand him and be able to heal him. I was woken up by all this noise. What the heck is an anxiety disorder? Why be anxious? I couldn't understand it. To me, other than life and death, everything is a trivial matter. Actually, even life and death, an asteroid hitting the Earth, or the destruction of the universe aren't a big deal either. I imitated a frog swimming backstroke, kicked my legs, and slid right to the brother's feet. Brother. Where did this old lady in a child's body come from, teasing a proper young man like this? Because he was in an anxious state, the brother completely ignored me. He hugged his arms tightly, his whole body trembling. Sweat dripped from his chin onto my forehead. I didn't know how to divert his attention. I tugged at his pant leg. To shake me off, the brother kicked his leg, thump, and his shin smashed hard into the chair leg. That must have hurt a lot. I was about to rub it for him, but he swatted me away with a smack. I thought for a moment and decided to share an embarrassing story of mine. When I was a baby, I was too lazy to drink milk and just slept all the time. If I hadn't let out a long fart, the nurse would have thought I was dead. I'm highly suspicious, that's probably why I was abandoned. My parents must have thought I was actually dead. Because of my 0.3x speaking speed, my story took on a bizarrely comedic tone. The brother seemed slightly less anxious. I tried not to let myself stop talking. Brother, you always get first place in exams. I get first place too. Although it's counting from the bottom up. See, it really is true that people who aren't a family don't enter the same door. But when I enter performance competitions, I'm always first place. A positive number, for real. Because I always play the role of a tree. This is what they call excelling in one's chosen profession. The brother finally glanced at me and spat out two gloomy words, how childish. Sigh. His attention had finally shifted away from his anxiety. Magical music can soothe the soul. I pulled an eru, a two-string Chinese fiddle, out of my tiny bindle. Closing my eyes, I imagined myself sitting on the snowy peaks of the Himalayas, looking down at all living beings with a heart as still as water. My music, just like my speaking speed, was at 0.3x speed. After I played just 3 notes, the person sitting on the chair instantly stopped shaking. As expected, I still had my merits. Look, I can heal others. The brother looked down at me in confusion. What the hell are you playing? Well, I learned it from the people in funeral processions. They always play like this. I think it sounds great. Every day, I'd hold my eru and sit at the orphanage gate waiting for them to pass by. Before I could even finish, the brother directly reached out and corrected a few wrong notes for me. After that, he prepared to hug himself and start shaking again. Oh, all right then. What kind of music is the female side character playing? Doesn't it sound like it has underworld energy? It sounds so familiar, where have I heard it? I forget. Commenter above, was it at a funeral parlor? No joke, listening to the female side character's music for a while actually has a magical power that makes you calm down, probably the magical power that sends people straight to heaven, right? Why do I find the female side character kind of cute? By the time I finished a song, the room was unusually quiet. Soft snoring even sounded from the comment section. The brother was also breathing evenly. Like a little chick, he quietly hugged himself and dozed off, occasionally smacking his lips and drooling 2 lines of spit. From this angle, the brother really was quite handsome. I shimmied out from under the desk but accidentally nudged his leg with my elbow. He jolted awake, pinched his own arm, his face full of remorse. At this age, how could you fall asleep? Who allowed you to sleep? Am I possessed? I fell asleep again? Who was the brother talking to? The brother muttered to himself as he buried his head back into the pile of test papers. He was no longer trembling with anxiety like before. He had important things to do, so I couldn't disturb him anymore. I was just about to sneak away when the comments exploded again. The brother is getting a nosebleed. Too much internal heat, the pressure is too high. Poor thing. If you have talent, you have to endure the hardship. If my kid were this smart, I'd force him to study too. If studying doesn't kill you, keep studying. Such a good seedling can't be wasted. He hurriedly grabbed a tissue and wiped it carelessly, tossing crumpled up paper all over the room. I ignored those comments, stopped in my tracks, thought for a moment, and decisively gathered his discarded tissues into a small pile. I pulled out a small stove, a lighter, and a woven palm leaf fan. I fetched some water, started a fire, and fanned the flames. No way? Is the female side character's bindle Doraemon's magic pocket? Just how many weird things are in there? Bloop bloop bloop. A sweet and refreshing aroma filled the room. I reduced the spicy bite of the ginger and added some sweet roses. I had been lying on the floor for too long earlier and felt a bit chilly, so I was afraid of getting an upset stomach and decided to brew a cup of ginger tea for myself. While I was at it, I pulled out honeysuckle, chrysanthemum, dandelion, licorice, mulberry leaves, and malva nuts from my bag to brew a cup of evil-expelling, heat-reducing tea for my brother. To make it taste better, I specifically added rock sugar, hawthorn, and a little secret spice blend. The brother, who had been tearing his hair out in his chair, finally couldn't sit still anymore. He stood up and walked over to me, his nostrils flared and stuffed with tissues. He put his hands on his hips and questioned me in a nasally voice. "Who exactly are you? What are you doing? Why do you keep bothering me in my room? Do you know how important the stuff I'm doing is? If you ruin my work, can you afford to pay for it? What are you boiling?" I crossed my legs and handed him the enamel mug shaped like a chamber pot, dragging out my words, "Here." There's even a bright red double happiness character printed on the mug. I saw someone throw it away after a wedding, so I picked it up. The brother blanked out and took it, revealing an expression of "You're actually pretty resourceful, huh?" Half believing and half doubting, he brought it to his mouth and took a sip. A second later, his eyes lit up. At first, he turned his back and took small sips out of embarrassment, but then he sat cross-legged in front of me. Finally, he just laid flat right next to me. The tissues stuffed in his nose were thrown who knows where. He crossed his legs and took a big slurp. Ah, so good. The brother didn't even forget to watch the fire for me, occasionally adding some firewood. "I just went to change my baby's diaper. What is this situation? What is the little grind-set war god doing? No way? So he's just lying flat right there? Young male lead, wake up, your exam is in 3 days. You are the hope of the future, the pillar of the nation." Wait, what did the brother just throw into the stove? Was that his test paper? He burned it all. Is this real life? It's all falling apart. Promise Auntie you won't lie flat, okay? I'm going to be a fan of your future career. I suspect there was grass, catnip, in that tea. The brother's eyes were glazed over. He looked like a little puppy drinking milk, his imaginary ears drooping and twitching, throwing absolutely everything to the back of his mind. Is it that good? What did the girl give him? Let me taste a sip. Slurp, slurp, slurp. After being busy for half the day, a low-energy person like me was out of breath from exhaustion. I went downstairs. Mom was watching a drama on the sofa. The show was so touching that she was sobbing and hiccuping. I planned to walk around her and find a quiet corner to catch up on my sleep. In the past, whenever my battery ran out and I wanted to sleep, I would inevitably get scolded by the orphanage nannies, calling me an old lady, a lazy bum, or a rat. Then I'd get boycotted by the other kids, specifically isolated. When I was asleep, they would draw wrinkles or pigs on my face, some even stuffed onions up my nose. Because of that, I was always sleep-deprived. The next day I'd be sluggish again, a vicious cycle. But they weren't important people, so I didn't hold it against them. I didn't make things hard on myself by holding a grudge. It wasn't worth it. But I didn't want Mom to think I was lazy too. She was one of the rare people in this world who didn't despise me and was willing to adopt me. However, I was just too sleepy, I couldn't hold on any longer. As I walked past Mom, my very last sliver of energy depleted. Flop. I fell directly into Mom's embrace. Okay, I admit, I had a little bit of a selfish motive. I struggled to squeeze out the words, "I'm sorry." But Mom's embrace was so warm, so soft, and it smelled so good. Even though I act like an old lady, I'm still a kid. Even though I have a whatever mindset, I still need to be loved. I also want parents to hug and coax me. I also want to sleep in Mom's arms when I'm tired. Just this once. If Mom wants to scold me, go ahead. Instead, Mom chuckled softly. Oh my goodness, what is my little sweetheart apologizing for? What's there to apologize for when you're sleeping in your own home? Come here, let Mom adjust her posture so you're more comfortable. My eyes grew hot. I rubbed my face against her chest and drifted into dreamland. This was the best, most peaceful sleep I've ever had. I don't know how much time passed, but brother suddenly rushed downstairs and hugged me tightly. Mom slapped his hand. What are you doing, Luzishuan? Your sister is sleeping, let her sleep in peace. Brother ignored her and planted loud, wet kisses all over my face, leaving my cheeks red and covered in drool. Sister, my good little sister. You are absolutely my lucky star. I woke up with messy bedhead, my face full of question marks, staring at him blankly. Mom covered her mouth and giggled. Luzishuan, how many times did I call you down to see your sister and you wouldn't come? Jinju is 8 years old now, only 2 years younger than you. Don't just hole up in your room alone from now on, you need to play with your sister more, understand? Brother looked at me with sparkling eyes and nodded furiously. He carefully pulled a piece of scratch paper from behind his back to show me and Mom. It's all thanks to my sister. I solved it. The brother had hit a bottleneck in his exam prep. He grinded for a month with no ideas, causing his anxiety to relapse. As a result, the little sister hits him with a combo, a soul-soothing lullaby plus heat-reducing tea. Not only is his anxiety gone, but while lying there drinking tea, he solved a difficult math problem no one had solved in 50 years. A blind cat finding a dead mouse. It's mainly because the brother actually has real skills. What does this lazy system female side character know besides health preservation and lounging around? Wait until the brother meets the excellent and ambitious female lead and fights alongside her. Only then will he completely cure his anxiety and become a top global scientist. Whatever, my daughter is the best. It seemed this was the first time brother had shown off the results of his hard work to others. His fingers twisted together nervously, he looked both excited and anxious. After understanding the whole story, Mom kissed both of us and praised us endlessly. But I noticed he was still hiding another piece of paper behind his back. He gripped it tightly with no intention of bringing it out. I lunged forward and snatched it. It was a scribbled drawing. I immediately recognized it. It was me lying on the ground playing the eru. This was the first time someone had drawn a portrait of me. Even though the posture wasn't exactly elegant. Brother lowered his head, not daring to look at me, feeling both scared and expectant. I immediately pounced on him, hugged him, and planted a loud kiss on his cheek. Wow, am I really this cute? Thank you, brother, I love it. As long as brother made it, I love it. I tried to speak faster, but every word still dragged out endlessly. Mom and brother listened seriously until I finished my sentence, not showing any impatience or disgust like other people did. Brother's tightly knit brows finally relaxed, and his whole aura visibly brightened. Did he draw a dog? So incredibly ugly. Turns out there are things the brother isn't good at. Hilarious, brother is 10 years old, right? Why are his drawing skills at a 3-year-old's level? You guys need to chill. First you bash the female side character, then you point fingers at the brother. If you love grinding so much, why don't you go grind yourselves? Why do you love micromanaging other people's kids? Honestly, did the female side character do anything wrong? Everyone has the right to choose their own way of living, she's not bothering anyone. Besides, watching her cross her legs, listen to music, and drink goji berry tea every day, it's quite relaxing. I like this old soul kid. Sigh, do you guys remember why the brother got an anxiety disorder? The original female lead suffered from postpartum depression. The male lead, to take care of his wife, sent his son to his grandparents to be raised from a young age. The grandparents had extreme expectations and strictly controlled everything he did. Originally, as a kid, the brother loved drawing. Sadly, a family portrait he drew was torn to pieces by his grandmother and thrown in the trash, followed by a harsh scolding. Since then, he never dared to touch a paintbrush, and his skills stagnated. Growing up without love and tolerance, his world only consisted of awards and grades. Terrified of failing his family's expectations, his anxiety grew worse and worse. By the time the mother wanted to fix things, it was too late. Stop arguing. Isn't my daughter good enough? The brother is being healed by my daughter. My heart breaks for the daughter. Phew, so noisy. I automatically muted them in my head. I wondered if brother could hear these voices like I could. Using my absolute top speed, I reached up and covered brother's eyes. Brother, those are malicious comments, don't listen. Shouldn't she cover his ears? Haha. My daughter fumbling around is too cute. Brother gave me a weird look. Once I confirmed he really couldn't hear them, I put my hands down. Living with mom and brother, we influenced each other. Thanks to my family's love and support, I felt my energy reserves were much more abundant than before. I bought a bunch of green bananas online and hung them in brother's room. He tilted his head in confusion. I attached a wooden tag to the stem that read, "Stop Banana Green," a Chinese pun where banana green sounds exactly like anxiety. Brother, you have to wait for the bananas to turn yellow before you eat them, okay? Brother understood the pun and nodded. I don't know if it was because of me, but his anxiety hadn't relapsed recently. I asked mom for a patch of land to grow vegetables. Usually, the three of us would garden together in the yard. Sometimes, I'd accidentally fall asleep right there on the dirt. At first, brother would hold his finger under my nose to check if I was still breathing. Only after confirming I was fine would he breathe a sigh of relief. Then, he would thoughtfully set up a little umbrella to shade me from the sun. Later on, when we got tired of digging, the three of us would just lie spread eagle on the ground. So comfortable. So incredibly chill. Brother would chew on a piece of foxtail grass, bouncing his leg. It doesn't matter, everyone will eventually love someone. At 4 a.m., mom held an enamel mug, loudly slurping her beauty-preserving tea. Get ready. LOL. The whole family got smoothly assimilated by the female side character just like that? Don't speak too soon. There's still the old workaholic king of the grind dad. If he comes home and sees his son rolling around in the dirt, it'd be a miracle if he doesn't skin him alive. Shortly after, Dad really did come home. His tie was slung loosely over his arm, he reeked of alcohol, and he looked like a crumpled piece of paper, absolutely devastated. Looks like he had successfully been trampled underfoot by the villain. Seeing brother lying in the middle of the yard, Dad blew his top like a thunderstorm. Lu Zixuan. What on earth are you doing? That outfit costs 2 million. Then he turned his head and saw mom and me lying barefoot next to him. We had peaceful expressions, and an unidentified red liquid, from the tea, was leaking from the corners of our mouths. Dad dropped everything in his hands and rushed over to hug mom. Darling, what's wrong? Wake up. It's all my fault. If I had spent more time with you, I wouldn't have to regret this for the rest of my life. To hell with wealth and fame, to hell with the villain, screw it all. Dad cried as he dramatically slapped his own face. Startled. Mom bolted upright, staring blankly at Dad, who was practically foaming at the mouth in grief. Wee-woo, wee-woo, wee-woo. The sound of an ambulance siren rang out. Brother and I ran over carrying a mini stretcher for the rescue. The siren sound was being dubbed by brother himself. I was going to pull out my funeral suona to play, but there wasn't enough time. When Dad woke up, he thought he was dead too, so he just gave up and accepted his fate. Oh, Mom. Brother and I wailed tragically for a while until Mom reluctantly brought her enamel mug to Dad's lips. He took a sip. Dad's eyes lit up as if his meridians had been cleared. Who knew the underworld soup of forgetfulness tasted this good? Mom smacked him. What kind of crazy episode are you having? If you can live, live, if not, get lost. Go hug your work and don't bother me while I plant veggies, arrange flowers, listen to music, walk the bird, and scroll TikTok. Dad finally sobered up and started crying tears of regret. I was wrong, wifey. I will never neglect you and the kids again. Please forgive me. I'm not going to fight with that villain anymore either. If he comes looking for trouble in the future, I'll stay far away. Living our own good life is more important than anything. Brother and I ran up to Dad and asked in our childish voices, Daddy, may we ask if you need massage services? Ah, let's try it. Following that, the man in the expensive suit and leather shoes lay face down, sunbathing his back, enjoying a massage from 4 little hands while humming a tune. Lonely tonight, where should my heart rest? Treason. The whole family has been successfully corrupted by the female side character. To be honest, he sings like a mating cow. We know you're chill now, but please stop singing. The health-preserving tea I was brewing following the little sister's recipe is about to burn. An independent woman like an eagle can't wait anymore. I want an old soul daughter like this too. Just then, his secretary called. President Liu Fu Sishen said that if you don't show up, the merger project for Company A will fall into his hands. Dad whistled as he picked up the phone. Take it, let him have it. What's the fun in fighting back and forth? Don't bother me while I enjoy family happiness from now on. Oh, and also, ask him, does he have human warmth? Does he have a heartbeat? Has he ever smelled a flower? Does he know what color the sky is? Has he ever shed a tear? Is there anyone in the world who loves him and would willingly die for him? Does he? After delivering that philosophical beatdown, Dad tossed the phone directly into the swimming pool. A week later, the villain Fu Sishen publicly announced to the media that he was suffering from severe depression and had decided to become a monk. The reason? His lifelong business competitor had suddenly disappeared, leaving him with 6 soul-awakening questions. Life had completely lost its meaning. The comment section had lost the ability to speak. After much deliberation, the whole family unanimously decided to add a new member. We drew lots and decided to get a dog, and to adopt rather than buy, of course. It just so happened that Grandpa's unit had a batch of retiring military dogs. All the dogs found owners except for a German shepherd named Ding Ding, who was left behind. Because Ding Ding's hind legs were injured, he was forced to retire early. When he found out, he refused to eat or drink for a whole week. We brought him home. He only lifted his head to glance at the new environment before resting his chin back on the ground. He didn't eat or drink. Calling him, petting him, or teasing him got no reaction. His eyes were filled with such despair, it was as if he had actively disconnected from the world, just waiting for death. Boo-hoo. So pitiful. He probably thinks he's injured and has no more value, so he got thrown away. This breaks my heart. Poor baby, get well soon. Acting like a grown-up, I patiently stroked his head. Because you excellently completed all your missions and helped so many people, you're so amazing that you were rewarded with early retirement. Now you get to live for yourself and do what you like. From now on, eat if you want to eat, play if you want to play, roll around if you want to roll around, climb trees if you want to climb trees. I sighed softly. Actually, life inherently has no meaning. Money, status, and fame are just excuses that bored humans made up for their boring lives so it looks like they aren't wasting time. Life is just about experiencing it. Brother and I each took one of Ding Ding's front paws. When it rained, we stomped in puddles. When it was sunny, we dug into the bushes to sniff other dogs' butts. When it was cloudy, we helped people herd sheep. Comments unaware of the truth. Did those 2 little brats finally do in the old dog? A month later, Ding Ding was grinning and rolling around in mud puddles. He sat in front of the roast duck shop, staring passionately at the duck butts, drooling profusely. Brother and I couldn't drag him away even with the strength of 9 bulls and 2 tigers. He eloped, following the call of love, flirting with over a dozen female dogs across a 10-mile radius. Every day he slept until high noon, waking up with a derpy face, then pondered where to start destroying the house for the new day. Holy crap, why didn't you say so earlier? Yep, that's the flavor. As expected of the little sister's dog. Even the little sister's dog has zero drive to succeed? Then I want zero drive too. Why do I feel like the little sister has a whole philosophy on life? My family life was too peaceful and happy, and the plot couldn't stand it anymore. Due to some unavoidable force majeure, I was kidnapped. To be exact, it wasn't really a kidnapping. There were no ropes, iron chains, or injuries on me. On the contrary, I woke up in a princess room entirely submerged in pastel pink. The mattress was fragrant and soft, the walls were painted with cute patterns, and I was surrounded by teddy bears. I had slept so soundly I didn't even know what day it was. A pretty auntie with a coaxing tone ran over and hugged me. Before I even saw her, I smelled a fragrance exactly like my mom's. Daughter, you're finally awake. Mommy has waited for you for so long. Is this the villain's wife? Actually, according to the original plot, the female side character couldn't blend in with the male lead's family and was returned. Then she was adopted by the villain's family. She turns evil growing up with the villain's family and comes back to take revenge on the male lead's family. So the plot is forcibly correcting itself? Wait, doesn't this lady's tone sound familiar to you guys? The auntie pinched my cheek, then pretended to be calm, stood up, and walked out. You're hungry, right? Wait here while mommy gets you some snacks. Reaching the door, the auntie whispered super softly to herself, oh my gosh, I finally got to pinch her cheek. So soft, so bouncy, so cute, my heart is melting. Holy crap. Isn't this the sis from the reading comment section? No wonder I haven't seen her comment in a while. Turns out she transmigrated into the story? Commenter above, are you talking about the user loving my daughter is as simple as breathing? Crazy fan. This is a crazy fan, boycott. Crazy fans are crying from jealousy. I want to transmigrate and pinch my daughter's cheek too. +1 + 10,086. Line up. Everyone get in line. Meanwhile, the male lead's family, who was on a relaxing fishing trip, finally realized their sister was missing. The whole family frantically mobilized all their connections but couldn't find a single trace of me. That was until the villain stood in front of the male lead, Lu Zong. We finally meet again. Dad's family clenched their fists. Where did you hide my precious daughter? Hand her over now, and I might leave you a way out, Dad threatened. Give my sister back, you bad guy. Brother yelled. Woof woof. Barked Ding Ding. Fu Sishen raised an eyebrow. I have no interest in your old soul brat. Dad clenched his fists tighter. Then what are you interested in? Fu Sishen looked as if he'd been pricked by a needle, his expression changing drastically. I just want to ask you, why did you suddenly stop fighting me? Haven't we competed since we were kids? You said you wanted to defeat me your whole life. You said you wanted to trample me underfoot. Where is that promise? Where is our pact? You obviously despised family bonds the most. Why the sudden change in character? And those questions you asked me, what did they even mean? Mom and brother stared in silence. Dad said solemnly, it's not that I don't value family. In the past, I worked my life away so my family could have a better life and better protection. I only just realized that what they want isn't any of that. In the eyes of family, companionship and love are the most important. As for those questions I asked you, just treat them as a joke. The villain broke down completely, clutching his head and screaming. No. Then what meaning does my life have left? Anxious to save their daughter, Dad's family ignored him. Walking past Fu Sishen, who was slumped on the ground, Dad patted his shoulder. Go home, son. Just go home, all right? Only family is always waiting for you. For the past few days, the pretty auntie looked at me with sparkling eyes every day, muttering, "How am I so lucky? Who on earth created this tiny creature?" She also took me to the mall, bought me delicious food, and bought me pretty dresses. The auntie was very good to me, and her hugs were very warm. But I missed Mom, brother, Ding Ding, and Dad too. I timidly asked in a small voice, "Auntie, I miss home. Can you take me home?" "Miss home? Mommy will take you home right now," she said, then took me right back to her house. "Auntie? I meant not this house." But I realized I couldn't communicate with her. It seemed like she was a bit too obsessed. Suddenly, a strange mechanical voice echoed from nowhere. "Due to the host violating the transmigration agreement, the system has decided to prematurely terminate this transmigration experience. Please prepare to leave immediately." Two cold, emotionless men in black suits appeared out of thin air, grabbed the auntie by the armpits, and dragged her away. I reached out my tiny hand and called after her in my childish voice. "Auntie, goodbye." The auntie flailed her arms and legs toward me. "No. I'm a VIP. I paid money. I haven't experienced enough yet." "Daughter, my daughter." I tried my best to run toward her. The moment my cheek brushed against her palm, a familiar smile bloomed on her lips. So, the auntie and the men in black vanished together. Huh. I scratched my head. What did she want to say at the end? So sweet? So soft? So gangster? When Mom and Dad found me, I was sitting on the steps crying. A big, wet tongue licked my face. I looked up, it was Ding Ding. Woof, woof. Dad, Mom and brother, we all hugged each other tightly. No one could separate us anymore. At the very end of the story, I was doing ASMR for the whole family. The four of them lay in a row, holding hands. I pulled a professionally upgraded set of tools from my little bindle, singing bowls, wooden mallets, peacock feathers, nut rattles, ear picks, buffalo horn combs, and water globes. Using a breathy voice, I whispered in their ears. "Is everyone ready? We're about to enter the deepest sleep." I gotta say, the male and female lead's family is really being raised well by the female side character. So comfortable. As someone who's had insomnia for a month, I'm actually falling asleep. Who gets it? Daughter. My daughter. You damn system, give my daughter back. Ah, my daughter is so good, she even knows how to coax people to sleep. Mommy is melting. Perfect ending. The end.